New intro. So much love and appreciation to those of you who have been with me for the 2 year period plus that I've been doing this. Thank you for showing your love and support to the channel. And to anybody else who is brand new to the platform and you would like to support the channel, also, you can do it by way of Patreon, Anchor, the clothing store, and also the shoe shop that is listed in the comment description below. And again, thank you to any and all of you guys who have been here to support this channel during the 2+ year period. I wouldn't be able to do what I do every single day without you. All right, so before I show you guys these videos, I just want to go over this story, this article real quick from December 19th of 2019. Facial recognition systems misidentify people of color more often than white people. A landmark federal study released Thursday shows casting new doubts on rapidly expanding investigation techniques widely used by law enforcement across the United States. Asian and African American people were up to 100 times more likely to be misidentified than a white person, depending on the particular algorithm of type of search. Native Americans had the highest false positive rates of all ethnicities. This was according to the very same study, which found that the systems varied widely in their accuracy. Faces of African American women were falsely identified more often in the kinds of searches used by police investigators, where an image is compared to thousands or millions of others in hopes to identify a suspect. Algorithms developed in the United States also show high error rates of one-to-one searches of Asians, African Americans, Native Americans, and Pacific Islanders. Such searches are critical to functions including cell phones, sign-ons, and airport boarding schemes. And errors could also make it easier for imposters to gain access to those systems. Women are more likely to be falsely identified than men, and the elderly and children are more likely to be misidentified than those in other age groups. Middle-aged white men generally benefit from the highest accuracy rates. The National Institute of Standards and Technology, the federal laboratory known as NIST that develops standards for new technology, found empirical evidence that most of the facial recognition algorithms exhibit, quote, demographic differentials that can worsen their accuracy based on a person's age, gender, or race. The study fundamentally shakes one of America's law enforcement's fastest growing tools for identifying criminal suspects and witnesses, which privacy advocates have argued that is ushering in a dangerous and new wave of government surveillance tools. The FBI alone has logged in more than 390,000 facial recognition searches of the state's driver's license base and other federal and local databases since 2011. Members of Congress this year have voiced anger over the technology's lack of regulation and its potential for discrimination and abuse. Lawmakers on Thursday stated that they were alarmed by the shocking results and called for the previous administration to reassess its plans to expand facial recognition use inside of the country alongside its borders. The NIST team tested the system with about 18 million photos of more than 8 million people, all of which came from the database run by the State Department, the Department of Homeland Security, and the FBI. No photos were taken from social media, video surveillance, or the open internet, they stated. The test studied both how algorithms work on a one-on-one matching, used for unlocking a phone or verifying a passport, and one-to-many matching, used by police to scan for the suspect's faces across a vast set of driver license photos. Investigators tested both false negatives, in which the system fails to realize two identical faces are the same, as well as false positives, in which the system identifies two different faces as being the same, a dangerous failure for police who could end up arresting an innocent person.
A New Jersey man is suing the police after a bad facial recognition match landed him in jail for a crime he did not commit. Last year, Niger Parks was falsely accused of shoplifting and trying to hit an officer with his car, even though he was 30 miles away when the incident happened. He spent 10 days in jail and paid thousands of dollars in legal fees before the case was eventually dismissed for lack of evidence. He's now suing the police and the city of Woodbridge, New Jersey, for a violation of his civil rights, false imprisonment, and false arrest.
Hey guys, and it's not just that the young lady was not involved. Her family says she was not here. That brawl happened on a school night, and they say she was at home with them. They say this facial recognition technology, they did not even know that the business was using it. And tonight they're saying it's inaccurate.
To me, it's basically racial profiling. You're just saying every young black, brown girl with glasses fits the profile. And that's not right.
Julia Robinson and her husband Derek are considering legal action against the Livonia skating rink after their 14-year-old daughter Lamaya was misidentified by the business's facial recognition technology.
I was like, that is not me. Who is that?
Lamaya's mom dropped her off at Riverside Arena last Saturday between 8 and 9 p.m. to hang out with friends. But staffers barred her entry, saying she was banned from the skating rink. They scanned her face and said Lamaya was involved in a brawl at Riverside back in March. But there was one problem.
I was so confused because I've never been there.
The Robinsons' beef with Riverside comes as facial recognition technology undergoes more scrutiny. Robert Williams, one of the first in the country to be misidentified and wrongfully arrested over the technology, testified on Capitol Hill Tuesday.
I just don't think it's right that my picture was used in some type of lineup, and I've never been in trouble.
Tawana Petty heads up Data for Black Lives, one of 35 organizations signing on to a campaign calling for retailers to not use facial recognition technology on customers or workers in their stores. According to campaign organizers, Lowe's and Macy's are among those using the technology. Walmart, Kroger, Home Depot, and Target are among those that are not.
Face recognition does not accurately recognize darker skin tones. So I don't want to go to Walmart and be tackled by an officer or security guard because they've misidentified me for something I didn't do.
The Robinsons say they're thankful the situation did not lead to an unnecessary interaction with police. Riverside made Lamaya leave the building after misidentifying her, putting her safety, the Robinsons say, at risk.
Y'all to put my daughter out of the establishment by herself. You never know what could have happened. Like I said, it just happened to be a blessing that, she was calling in frustration to talk to her cousin. But at the same time, he pretty much, I guess I'm not that far. Let me go up here and see what's wrong with her.
All right, we have a statement from the skating rink, which reads in part, one of our managers asked Miss Robinson, Lamaya's mom, to call back sometime during the week. He explained to her this is our usual process, as sometimes the line is quite long and it's hard to look into things when the system is running. The software had her daughter at a 97% match. This is what we looked at, not the thumbnail photos Miss Robinson took a picture of. If there was a mistake, we apologize for that.
They came to the door, I answered it, and they kind of stuck their foot in the door and said, send Robert out. And I said, he's not here. They said, we just saw him come out of that van. And I said, that was my mom, he's not here.
I pull in the driveway here, hop out. By the time I close the door, the car is in the driveway blocking me in.
As soon as he shut the door, they were right on him, and they were already starting to cuff him by the time we get out there.
I was completely shocked and stunned to be arrested in front of my daughter, in front of my wife, in front of my neighbors. I can't really put it into words. It was one of the most shocking things I ever had happen to me. So when we get to the interview room, a detective turns over a picture of a guy and he's like, so that's not you? I look, I said, no, that's not me. He turns another paper over, he said, I guess that's not you either. I picked that paper up and hold it next to my face. This is not me. I'm like, I hope y'all don't think all black people look alike. And then he says, the computer says it's you. Hey, Julia. Julia, do you know why Daddy got arrested?
Because they looked that up on the computer.
Remember that when we was outside? I said they made a mistake and I'll be right back. I wasn't right back till I wasn't.
Even with me following the facial recognition news and how it was being used, I didn't ever expect the police to show up at our doorstep and arrest my husband. So I just feel like other people should know that it can happen and it did happen and it shouldn't happen.
I don't even know what it's worth to not be arrested in front of your children. Like, what's that worth to you?
So the reason I wanted to bring up their previous article is because they knew already that there were errors with this facial recognition technology and how a lot of these computers cannot seem to read more melanated people, aka black people. More times than not, there have been videos that have shown up on TikTok and social media of face scanning technology on computers, and they'll show you how their Caucasian counterpart, the scan will basically catch their face. But when it comes to the African American or the more melanated people out here, that's not the case. It takes more time, or it can barely catch, or it'll skip. And even though they know that these technologies have faults and or are faulty, they will still rely and use these technologies because they refuse to do quote unquote good old detective work. They're ready to take any and every shortcut that they can in order to make the job easier for themselves, and still try to claim all of the awards and the accolades that come with quote unquote good old fashioned detective work. This is why you already have three people that have been um, misrecognized, right, by their technologies. You had one black man who ended up having police show up directly at his door and pointing guns directly at him. You had another black man that ended up, he was going to face all types of jail time, have a record, false imprisonment. And then you had a young woman who does not look the exact same as the other young woman who was in that photo. You can clearly tell, like if you were to look at her, you can clearly tell that her nose is different from the other young woman. But yet again, the technology can't see that. That's the difference between humans having eyes and looking at a picture versus a computer, which is going to have errors because it is written by human beings. So if a human being is prone to errors, guess what? The programming and the computer and whatever else that is created by human beings is more than likely going to be prone to error as well. And note, they stated in the for the instance of the young woman, they were like, hey, um, the facial technology said that it was 97% accurate. You see how they want to hide behind those numbers as if the computer was right. It was like, well, this is what the computer said, so we were following the computer. You see how that works? Humans don't want to take responsibility. If they have a program or a computer that's doing the work, it's easy for them to just lie back and say, oh well, it was a computer's fault, or the computer got it right. We were right this whole time. Like I said, people got to pay very close attention to what it is that is transpiring and how they're trying to do a great deal of things directly out here. They're going to use a lot of these technologies that's going to end up falsely recognizing black people and then identifying them as the perpetrator when realistically that was not them. But like I said before, more and more, they're going to try to use a lot of these technologies in black communities versus using it in other communities. So like I said before, this is why black people need to pay attention. And the other thing that they wanted to make sure to make note of, they were like, yeah, out of all of those 100 and 100 million photos that we had, we didn't get those from social media. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. Because like I said before, a lot of these social media platforms, they sell your information. And for a lot of people that want to be on social media using these camera devices where they can read and scan your face, you're helping to train the algorithm that they're going to use in the future to sit up there and use against you. But people don't even realize it. They're disguising all of these little games in these apps where you can turn your face into like a whale or a dolphin or whatever it is, and you can put all of these things around your face and look nice and all this other stuff for IG. You're training the algorithm, literally. You're helping them train the algorithm to make it better for free. That's where all of this is going. This is where all of that data is going to. Take a close look at what Google does. They have servers set up all around the world. Why do you think that is? That's because they're collecting data from all around the world, literally. But like I stated before, people are not going to pay attention up until it's too late. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about the 2019 article along with the 3 videos that were inserted into the video in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.